Hey everyone, Phil Williams here, and you have reached part 4 of our 4-part video series. This one focuses on business environment, and if you attend the PMP certification course, you may spend half a day going over this. If you'll remember, business environment is 8% of the exam. It's not a lot, but it's too big to ignore. And it's important. Business environment kind of intersects with the other two domains, people and process, and it's important. We're not going to go to a great deal of detail, but we're going to touch on the 4 tasks that are outlined in the exam content outline and add a few comments about each task, just enough so you'll have an appreciation for what the business environment domain is about. And so when you get in and start doing your own studies, you'll be familiar with it and will be able to build on what you learn in this part 4 video. The business environment domain represents 8% of the PMP exam. This domain integrates with both the people domain and the process domain. In the current exam content outline, the business environment domain has 4 tasks. Task 1, plan and manage project compliance. Task 2, evaluate and deliver project benefits and value. Task 3, evaluate and address external business environment changes for impact on scope. And Task 4, support organizational change. So let's focus on Task 1, plan and manage project compliance. Compliance is commonly represented in projects as regulatory or legal constraints. Compliance constraints represent project risks or threats and should be continuously monitored and measured. So compliance was not a topic that was covered or identified in any formality on previous exams. It's something that is materialized with the release of the exam content outline. And so it's kind of new territory. It's not actually new territory for businesses, but it's new territory for the PMP exam, but it's welcome because regulatory compliance does impact projects. It's important for project managers to have an understanding of compliance. Task 2, evaluate and deliver project benefits and value. So project benefits must be identified from the beginning. When you're coming up with your business case and you're writing down what are our objectives, there should be some understanding of why you're doing this. We will communicate that by calculating the internal rate of return, maybe the present value of the future earnings. And so these are things we do originally to justify the project. So when we're comparing a project business case against other business cases, we usually tend to select the ones that provides the best value for the business. Now that's important. That usually gets our project selected, but it's also equally important that throughout the project that we continue to monitor that benefit to ensure that the project is still viable and that benefit is still real and it still equals what we originally set out to accomplish. It must be understood how benefits will be delivered. So while we'll talk about the benefits, we need to specify when will those benefits be delivered, how will those benefits be delivered. Task 3, evaluate and address external business environment changes for impact on scope. So it's important to understand that many things that sometimes are out of our control, marketplace conditions, political climate, organizational culture, can impact our projects. External factors must be identified, impacts continuously evaluated, and responses prioritized. Task 4, support organizational change. An organization's culture can influence how it responds to change. Some cultures are very rigid, and when change happens, it must be evaluated very carefully. Some organizations are less so, and they can accommodate change much more easily. Maybe because they are not constrained by expensive regulatory requirements, so they can afford to be a little more flexible. In the end, projects introduce change, and we must understand how an organization's culture will respond to changes and what actions are required to support successful adoption of those changes. Projects can produce excellent results, wonderful deliverables, but then the organization is not prepared to accept that change, and that will devalue the results of that project. So it's important that we understand our organizational cultures so that we can successfully navigate changes into our organizations.